Okay, welcome to our first session of the Art of Living Well series. I'm really happy to spend these next few weeks with you all in practice, in discourse, and dialoguing about, let's just say, the truth. The truth is a word that is very prickly and pokey for most people because that's the question. Well, what is the truth? And is there a truth? And can we ever know what the truth is? And especially in these times post-COVID, where it became really clear that discernment is very important because people said a lot of things that turned out to be not true, caused a lot of harm. And so people are in a state of a lot of distrust. And perhaps there's been a lot of distrust being human in every generation, distrust of the government and people who are making decisions, but that distrust stems from your distrust in yourself. Because the thing is that if you really trusted yourself and your connection to the divine, call it your higher self, call it your heart's intelligence, nobody out there could say anything that would confuse you or harm you because you would always be in such right alignment that it doesn't matter what chaos is going on out there. And so, depending on how your experience of these last years were and whether you felt confused, overwhelmed, and fear, it was just a mirror for you to see what was actually already going on. The world is just a mirror. And if you, I'm sure all aware that everybody's experience of COVID was very different and unique. Now, there was themes, but some people, their whole life shut down and they went into deep depression. And some people had the best few years of their life. Same world situation, completely polar opposite experiences. So it's just worth noticing and questioning, well, what is reality? And that's a good question because there really isn't any reality with it. I'm talking about truth, right? So now I'm talking about reality as if it's a thing that is real, but your reality is yours that you create. Because two people can be in the same situation and have literally completely different experiences. And this happens in a small and a big way all the time. Just yesterday, I was staying with a new housemate, and I made a comment that was my intention was for it to be supportive. She had a really messy cabinet. Her house is beautiful, but she had a really, really unorganized, messy cabinet. And I said, you know what would be a super easy solution for everything you have going on there is just a bunch of cheap plastic drawers in there. And she got so overwhelmed by that comment that was just intended to be a general and passing supportive comment because she has already built up so much energy around this house remodel she's been in and how she doesn't have enough time and she doesn't have enough support and she doesn't have enough any more money to do any more things with the house. And so the comment about getting some plastic drawers from the drugstore to put her cords and things in was like me telling her that something was missing, something was wrong, that she needs to do more. And so we're in the same room in the same moment having two completely different conversations. Yes, we all know this, but it's important to be reminded often, especially because it can be easy to see in situations like that, right? Everyone on this call has been in relational and personal and spiritual and emotional development and training for many years. And that's looked different for all of us, but we've been on this path of really investing in ourselves and our ability to be in relationship and our ability to lead better and to be more effective and to be happier and be healthier. Yes, right? We're each other's people. So I know that's true. But we can all forget that the reality we're currently experiencing is all coming from us. Everything we experience came first from us, and now we're experiencing it. Came first from our thoughts and from our emotions and our energy. So if there's something that we don't like in our life, and it's especially tricky, it seems so tricky when the things that we don't seem to be enjoying or liking seem to be a result of still culture or capitalism or your family or someone else, or that you're a victim to your body, like your body just doesn't have enough energy or your body is just getting sick. No, the only reason that your body will ever not have the strength and energy it needs is because of the quality of your thoughts and the fears that you have been poisoning your own body with. Your body will always be perfectly well as long as you're not thinking thoughts and being in emotions that literally create sickness. And so you're not a victim of your body, you're not a victim of your energy or lack thereof, you're not a victim of money, you're not a victim of a culture, you're not a victim of anything. Because there really isn't anything truly out there. Because you know some people who are sick all the time, and maybe if you're lucky, you know some people who are literally never sick. You might not, maybe you don't have that perception of possibility, but I know people who they are never unwell. Some of my teachers are in their 80s and they haven't been sick since they were children because they don't believe in sickness, because they keep their minds clean. And so therefore their bodies are a reflection of that. And I, of course, I imagine, you know, people, you've at least seen people who are very, very, very wealthy. Money's no different, but what is it that you're holding about yourself and about money that's would be different than the people who it come more easily for? So truth, though, when I talk about truth, so the truth is that reality is of your own making. And of course, environment is, you're influenced by people and environment, and you can create shared realities, right? There's that phrase in the Bible that says, when two or more are gathered in my name, I shall be there. Because it is true that the more people hold a belief system, hold a thought, the more real for you, the stronger it becomes, which can work in your favor or against. But you get to decide and create. Who are you building energy fields with? Who are you building thought patterns with? Who are you sharing ideas with? And are those ideas empowering you and inspiring you and giving you energy and making you more effective and bringing you more health and prosperity? Or are those ideas that you're sharing with other people causing you to be sick, tired, poor, overwhelmed, anxious? So it's just worth looking at. What are you thinking on your own, but also to recognize that there's not really any truly private thoughts. They're felt by the people around you, and you will attract people around you that are similar, holding similar thoughts and ideas, frequencies to you, so that you can see them outside yourself. So that person that you think is annoying or is, oh, I can't believe they can't get this thing together, or they are constantly stressed whenever you have all these ideas about the people outside of you. Well, it's really important to really look and question, where am I doing that? Where am I saying that? How are they mirroring to me who I am or who I've been? And something that's really important to look at when you're considering your environment, people, situations, as the mirror to see what you are doing and thinking and saying. It doesn't always look exactly the same. So as an example, you might have somebody in front of you who is saying, I really want to drink, but I don't want to drink alcohol, right? Like there's someone that you're hanging out with and they're trying to stop drinking alcohol. And so they say, and they're in this waver. It's like they're in that inner battle with themselves. I want this, but I don't want this. You might not have anything around drinking, but it might be worth looking at where inside of yourself, what are you wavering on? What are you saying? I want to do something good for myself. I want to be in devotion to my well-being, to my thriving, but you're making decisions that are actually contradictory to that. Where you're saying you want one thing, but how you're behaving and what you're really thinking and what you're really saying is contradictory. Do you see that? Just as an example of how you can look at everything that shows up in front of you as a mirror, but not always take it so literally, so specifically. Because there's also aggressive and passive forms of expression of the same way of being. In fact, if you want to really understand what you came here to work out in this lifetime, you'll want to really look at what happened before age 7 in your life, from 0 to 7. And you'll especially know that it's a pattern for you that your soul came to heal and resolve if you saw the same pattern in both masculine and feminine influences. So your mother, your father, or grandmothers and aunts and uncles, people that were around you, teachers. If you can see it in both the men and the women, you'll know that is for you. Now, oftentimes one side will express it more aggressively and one side might express the same type of behavior more passively. So you might get somebody in front of you who's being very aggressive about something, and you might think, I'm never like that. But are you doing the passive version of the same fear or the same grievance that's being projected out? Does that make sense? But it's the same energy, just the expression of it is differently. In fact, if you had a lot of aggressive expression around you as a child, you might have said, I'm never going to be like that. But you're thinking the same fearful thoughts and just holding it much more passively and much more quietly. Yeah. So the truth, of course, you could have a big conversation about just what does that mean. But for the sake of this conversation in this series, what I want to say about the truth is that there's a resonance to truth. I'm sure you've all sat with mentors and guides and teachers and felt a sense of being at home in the wisdom. Your heart felt an opening. There was a curiosity, there was a leaning in, there was a peacefulness, there was an out breath. As when we're in the presence of truth, it's actually a remembrance of what we already know, of what's inside of us, of who we really are. And if you look at most religions and lineages, master teachers, most of them are saying basically the same thing, because there really is only one truth, but there's many ways to talk about it. One God, many names of God. One God, many paths to connect. Religions in their pure state and lineages in their pure state, they have basically the same teachings, but different stories to tell the teachings, right? Different metaphors, different characters, different ways to describe more or less the same thing. And so the longer that you really, for me, my path is very much as a mystic in this way. I love studying divine spiritual wisdom, and I've loved studying from many teachers. Now I have really at this point, 2 main teachers, but I have studied with, and I will continue to study with many people and teachers and lineages, because I love getting the transmission in different ways. And I love finding that golden thread that is basically the same thing that holds this whole reality, this whole actual life together of what it means to be here as a body, in a body, not as a body, in a body. Body is a vehicle. And when we have spiritual discourse, it's a return to center, it's a return to the truth, it's a return to who you really are. And as we study and we learn different, and I'm going to say it in a different way than one of your other teachers is going to say it. But sometimes we have to hear, not sometimes, we all have to hear the same thing over and over and over again. And we sometimes have to hear it in different ways. And it gets deeper, and we learn how to embody it newly. And if you're anything like me, and I'm curious, I'd love to see in the chat if this is true for you, that you really enjoy studying divine spiritual wisdom, that there is a sense of returning home, that it just feels natural, it feels right. It feels like when you're in a good transmission, or you're in a good class, or you're in your yoga or your kirtan, or you're meditating with a group, or you're on retreat, or whatever the ways that you've practiced and learned and studied are, that there's a part of you that's like, this is it. What else could I be spending my time with? Like, this is ultimately why I'm here, like a deeper feeling of this is why I'm here. Is that for now? That might not feel like that for everybody, but have you had moments, put in the chat, have you had moments where that feels true for you? When you really genuinely love studying divine spiritual wisdom? Yes, yes. And well, I didn't mean to start playing music. Hold on. So the reason for that, and the thing is that even for people who don't consider themselves mystics, they're not here to be a teacher of it in a similar way that I am. It's going to feel like that for everybody. Now, your mind might really interfere and say that there's something more important. I'm not going to have enough money if I spend my time in this. I have to be working. I have to do all this other stuff, right? And so people's minds can get them distracted, get you distracted. But the thing is that every single person on this planet, our leading vector, the thing that moves us in a deep internal, true way, is towards our divinity, is towards purification, purifying what is not true, purifying the false, purifying the limitations and confines that we've placed on ourselves that we believe means being in a body. And it's why religion is still so abundant in the world, is even though most of us know that unfortunately most religions have had this layer of dogma and control and patriarchy embedded in them. There's a reason why people want to go and pray and praise and celebrate and connect to God, connect to the divine. This is in all of us because that is who we are. We are spirit. You are each a unique emanation of the divine, of the one, of the source, of the unnameable, shapeless pattern of life that expressed itself into form as you. And so you are a unique emanation and expression of it, but there's a part of you when we talk about being in unity and oneness and connected to all, there's a part of all of us that is the same in all of us, is that, call it God, call it spirit. And then there is the way that your soul expresses and in each lifetime has things here to work out, to heal, and also to create. And you all have been given a guide. You have been given a guide to support your journey. You are not alone in this life, even though it for sure feels that way sometimes. And that is, do you know that the word sin actually just means to be without? It means separated. There's nothing you've ever done that is unforgivable, that is sinful in the way that the Christian Catholic religion has put it. To sin simply means to be without, to have forgotten who you are, to have forgotten that you are part of the divine, to feel separate, because the choices that you make when you think you're separate, when you think you're not going to have enough, when you think you're alone, when you think the world's out to get you, when you think you're a vulnerable body, are not great decisions, and they can cause harm towards yourself first and foremost, and sometimes to others. But there's a purity inside of you that nothing you've ever done can ever tamper with. And the only one that really needs forgiving, there's no one in your life that you need to forgive. You just need to forgive yourself. I know we talk about forgiveness like this thing that we do to other people because we feel wronged by other people. So then we're being so generous by being forgiving to them. Why did you create that situation? They are just a reflection of you. They're there for you. They're there for your own healing, for your They're there for your own healing. But the guilt that we carry within ourselves, the shame that we carry, the guilt feeling, whether that's feeling like we should be doing more, that we should be more successful, that we should have made different choices, that we should have did this or did that, upset with ourselves, disappointed with ourselves, all of that energy makes us sick. And so I want to invite you to forgive yourself. And Mike, your question, why does it seem so many people have turned away from God? Well, because the churches, the religions, because they have the truth, the wisdom has been interpreted in ways that don't actually make any sense. People are like, this doesn't make any sense. So they think it's about God, but actually it doesn't make sense that there's a judgmental God in the sky that's a man who is basically telling you that you're born in sin. Can we just start with that? That the fact that you were born of a woman, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's in Christianity and Catholicism, right? That you're basically already born in sin. And so I could say a lot, but why are they turning away from God? It's that people are actually turning away from organized religion and the dogma within religion, but they think that they're turning away from God. You know, one of my good friends is Jehovah's Witness, and he had to leave his entire family and everyone he knew in order to find his own path. You know, it's very controlling ecosystem to be a Jehovah's Witness. And to leave that meant, you know, and it's like he thought he was leaving God, but also everyone he loved. And what's so beautiful is that in that turning away and being willing to step away from what didn't feel resonant, because that's the thing, people are turning away because it doesn't feel resonant, because truth has a resonance. And when you're being told as a Jehovah's Witness that you can't be friends with anyone that's not in the faith, you can't be friends with anyone that's not in the faith. You can't go to their house. They can only come to your house and come to Bible study so that you can enroll them basically in being a Jehovah's Witness. So that, you know, there's so all of these different religions have their own distortions. And we can still refer to God as he, but he as a masculine, as a pattern, as a seed, not as a man. And the fact that God is a man, and that, you know, in Christianity, everything's a man, they even call the Holy Spirit a male. It just doesn't feel right for people because it's misinterpreted. But the beautiful thing is that the Bible, the Torah, all these sacred texts, if you have a level of consciousness where you can start to understand the metaphors, you'll realize that the truth is there. And in fact, so much of the Bible is based from ancient Egypt teachings. You know, there's astrology in the Bible. There's all these things in the Bible that the Christians actually say are connecting you to the devil. So you just have to know how to look. And so it's kind of a sad thing that many people are turning away from God, but it's also a beautiful thing because my friend who was a Jehovah's Witness, and this is becoming a more and more common story, he's now very much on a spiritual path. And we were just messaging this morning about how we just started reading A Course in Miracles, which is a text that I read. And so in people's turning away from what doesn't feel, where the light is missing, many of them they'll find it. And this is the evolutionary journey. We all have our own stories. For me, I grew up atheist. There was no God in my household. There was Christmas, which meant presents. And that was about as deep as we got. And I'm half Jewish by blood, but the only thing Jewish in my household was pastrami and corned beef and matzo ball soup. Yeah, really, we had a really deep family. No, and then look at me now. All I want to do is talk about God. The word God was never spoken in my household. There was nothing sacred in my household. So we all have our own stories. Thanks for the question. So with that, I want to transition from this conversation and lead a brief meditation. And then I think we'll speak a little bit more, and then we'll end again with another short meditation. Okay, so the first meditation will be a more breath-based meditation. And then I'll speak a bit and create a little more context for the series. And then we'll end again with a meditation. Okay, does that sound good? How is everyone doing? How is that conversation for everyone so far? Good. I'm so happy you're here, Kat. And Mia, really, really nice to see you. Kelly, I love you. I'm so happy you're here. Uh, and to those that I've never met, thank you for being here. Okay, so go ahead and get comfortable. You can sit on the floor, you can stay in your chair. I'm going to stay in my chair, and you can be seated, Indian style, or lotus style, or it's also really great to be meditating with your feet on the ground, seated in a chair. The thing that's important is if you are in a chair when you're meditating, is that you want your feet to be flat on the ground. And so some of you might need to get a pillow or a blanket under your feet so that you're not being pulled forward because your chair might be too high, right? So just make sure that, the Egyptian way of meditating is actually, if you look at all of the images of them, the statues of them, they're not sitting in the more Indian style, they're sitting upright with their legs in a more 90-degree, and and that's a powerful way of meditating as well. I know most of us have learned to meditate in a more lotus position, which I still love, but I alternate. And it just has a different feeling, so you can just experiment. But if you are in the type of chair where you can't sit up straight, I encourage you to find a place where you can be in your uprightness, because some chairs have you like a little too much back. And you can have your back supported, or you might enjoy sliding to the end of your chair if you are in a chair, so you can feel in your uprightness. There's a power in just the seated posture itself when you come to sit. And so just start to feel that and notice that for yourself, that how you sit changes your state in and of itself, right? There's a way of meeting yourself in your posture. And just start to breathe. The act of simply being seated intentionally and having an intentional moment is powerful in and of itself. And start to bring your breath into your belly first. You want to feel your belly inflate first before your chest. Just on your own, start to find deeper breaths, but meet yourself where you're at. If you've been breathing shallowly this morning, that breath might start shorter, but intentionally. But as you prime your lungs and your diaphragm, and you relax and become more present, and drop your energy out of your mind, and you relax your shoulders and your jaw, and your sacrum drops down. Your head is being pulled just slightly up, back the neck long, and slightly down. Those breaths can become longer. Just simply breathing deeply, consciously. And Kat, would you give me a thumbs up if you can still hear my voice well as the music in the background? Wonderful. Thank you. And as you breathe, bring just a little smile to your face, just a little of this, in celebration that you're doing something good for yourself. An acknowledgement that every day in every way you're getting better and better. And as you breathe, you soften, you open. You relax. I invite you to bring the thought, just hold this thought gently. Hold it with spaciousness as you breathe, as you invite yourself to be more and more present. The thought that tomorrow doesn't have to look like yesterday. That with your confidence and trust in yourself and life, that your future can look so different than your past. With the patterns and fears and mistrust that you've experienced in the past does not have to be carried forward. And that it's not the past that creates the future, it's this very moment. It's the present. And in this present moment, you are seated in your peace, in your power, in your confidence. In the knowing that a beautiful future awaits you. Breathe into that confidence, that acknowledgement. Let it fill you. Keep holding that awareness as I guide you through square breath, or sometimes called box breath. This is very regulating for your whole system. You want to have a peaceful mind and a peaceful body, a relaxed body in your life. You want to be able to move with speed while staying relaxed. And so we're going to start a little bit shorter and then we'll extend those breaths and I will count you using a mantra. So go ahead and release your breath. Now inhale slowly and steadily. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath empty. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. We're going to go to 6 now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, relax, little smile on your face as you breathe out. 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold your breath empty. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Hold your breath in. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Exhale. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Hold empty. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Inhale. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Hold your breath. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Exhale. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Inhale. Ra. Oh, hold empty. Empty out. And on these next few rounds, we're going to keep breathing in the same way. So just take a natural breath for a moment as I share what we'll do next. We're going to keep doing this square breath. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold out. But now you're going to, inside of your mind, say the mantra I'm saying, or I'll keep saying it out loud. It's Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Se, So, Hung. It's a very healing mantra. In fact, there's a beautiful research done by some neuroscientists on the healing power of this mantra on cancer, which I can share more about later. But you're going to say it as you're breathing inside of your head. And you're going to bring your thumb to each finger as you go. So it'll be finger to index, Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Se, So, Hung. So for each part of the square, you'll do your fingers twice. So Ra is the first index of thumb, and then you go from there. Okay? But you can stay eyes closed, just have your hands relaxed down on your knees. And exhale your breath out, close your eyes, relax your spine. Now begin to inhale. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Hold your breath. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Exhale. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Hold empty. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Inhale. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Hold your breath. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Exhale. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Empty. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Inhale. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Hold. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Exhale. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Empty. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hung. Keep going a few rounds on your own. When you finish your last round, you'll take a deep, deep breath. Hold the breath when you get there. And you'll inhale again, stacking on top of that breath. And then again, holding the breath. Inhale again. Fill your lungs, back of your chest. Inhale a little more if you can. And reach up to the sky. Reach up and laugh and shake. Beautiful. Beautiful. And bring your hand to your heart and recall that thought that I offered as a reflection, as something to celebrate, which is that your future is not determined by your past as much as you might think it is. Everything can change in one day. Everything can change by just having a new thought, by showing up newly, by believing something differently. And what will determine your future and your tomorrow is your confidence today, your conviction today, your trust in yourself and in life. First and foremost, because from that place, and the thing is that your trust in yourself can only be strong if you have a deep and clear connection with your higher self. Because as long as you're relying on yourself, your small self, you will just keep playing out the same things and you won't trust yourself. And you maybe don't trust yourself because you've never actually gone all in on your life and on your connection and on that spiritual connection. But when you start to really build that and it gets stronger and stronger, your trust won't stop wavering. Your conviction in the past. Sorry, I was reading someone sent a private comment. I meant to say your conviction, not in the past, but in the future, being extraordinary because you know that you are being guided and supported and protected and led changes everything. But if you don't have conviction that you are being supported and you're led, then it's good that you're here. Because these are the spaces, and in these conversations, we start to remember the truth, which is that we have support. And that support wants us to thrive, does not want us to be sick, does not want us to be poor, wants us to have everything that we need. Are you saying don't ruminate about the past, practice mindfulness instead? I'm definitely saying don't ruminate about the past, for sure. There's nothing for you in the past unless you are intentionally sitting to look at so that you can see the patterns, so that you can stop bringing them forward. There's no need to ruminate about the past. There's just suffering there. Why would you cause yourself to suffer? And yeah, you could say I'm saying to practice mindfulness. Sure, that's one way to put it. Be mindful about what's happening in your mind. Where are you? Are you worried about the future and trying to plan it so you can control it because you think you won't have enough in the future? Or are you in the past, ruminating on the past? When you're in the present and you're really listening, what you need to do right here for the future will be revealed. But most of your planning, so there's ruminating in the past, but then a lot of other people are on the other spectrum where they're just planning the future, controlling the future. But the thing is, the only good plan is the one that is revealed to you, because call it your higher self, call it your soul, call it spirit, call it your heart's intelligence. It's all the same thing. There is a higher intelligence. There is a guidance system for you. I often refer to it as higher self. when the plan comes from there, you will succeed. When the plan comes from your arbitrary goals that you've made up about what you think you want based on what you've seen and based on what you've decided your purpose is and based on what you think you need to survive, you might be successful, but it will certainly be harder and you will compromise and sacrifice in other areas, because we see lots of people become successful in their plans, but few of them are actually genuinely happy. But the people that are really happy, truly happy, because remember that the word happy in the English language comes from an Egyptian word that's spelled happy, H-A-P-I, which is the recognition that we are spirit in a body, and putting the body in service to, putting the ego in service to the higher self. That's what I just forgot what it's called. The lion body with the cat head, or the human head, is the Sphinx. So the Sphinx, and there's many images in Egypt. The Sphinx is just one where it's an animal body and basically human head. That's signifying this conjoining of body and ego in service to higher self, in service to spirit, being the vehicle, calling on the strength of the body of the lion in service to. So to be happy, truly happy, you cannot be truly happy unless you are in that recognition, and you have your priorities right. That's what brings happiness. And it just so happens to lead to a lot of success as well. Right? Okay, let's stand up. We're going to do a bit of a moving meditation. Just simply, what I mean by that is that I'm going to put on a song, a slower song, with the intention for you to become present in this moment by using the body. Again, the body in service. And so the body is an amazing tool that you can use to get your mind right. When you feel good, when you generate feel-good chemicals inside of this body, this vehicle, it's supportive for the quality of thoughts that you'll have. And they go both ways. And so what I want to invite is I put this song on, and again, it's going to be a slower song. And so the intention isn't necessarily to dance. The intention is more to get into spirals and waves and circles and open the spine and get long and get wide and stretch and move the neck and experiment by coming totally present with moving in new ways as you lead with your chin and then you lead with your shoulder. The reason I'm giving more guidance now is because I found on Zoom that it's often when the music's louder, the communication isn't always the best. So I'm giving you a little bit of tips now of how to play for a song. So as the song goes on, you're just in it's a moving meditation in that way. Okay, but notice the quality of your thoughts as you do this, if you have any at all. See if you can totally drop the thought and have the only thought be an exploration of the present moment. And if you are going to have a thought, use the body as a way to contribute energy to a positive thought. Does that make sense? Right? Okay. Let's put a song on. Come to stillness with your eyes closed. Take 3 deep breaths, feeling your feet on this earth that provides for you and nourishes you and provides for you everything that you've ever needed. And rise in your spine so that you're upright, rooted down but upright, crown reaching up to the sun, to the sky, to the heavens. Feeling yourself as the holy vessel for which spirit is made form, where ideas come to life through you. Bring a little smile to your face in the acknowledgement of that power, and that is who you are. It is what you are. You're an alchemist. And from this still point, we're just going to move this energy for just a minute or so. I want to invite you to really shake it out. All right, so we're going to shift the energy now to just shake it, shake it, shake it. And bounce and jump, shake, bounce, and really move it.
Got the guns to protect myself, got the banks to protect my wealth, got the laws that are keeping me safe, got the jails gonna lock you away. Feel it in my blood, feel it in my bones. Eats at everything I love, everything I know. It's a hungry other looking for a road to hoe. Give it time, give it space, gonna watch it grow. Gonna watch it grow. Gonna watch it grow.
Just a little longer, but now with sounds. Just really make some sounds, get weird, get loud. Ah!
Feel it in my bones. Feel it. Feel it. Feel it. Feel it. Feel it. Feel it. Feel it.
Beautiful. Let's come back seated, but with a smile on your face. Smile, big smile now. Like you're alive, like you're grateful to be alive. Thanks for sharing your smile, Tiffany. Big sigh. Close your eyes again. And feel the power and presence that is you. Be with yourself. Not your small self, your true self. You are free. You are already free. You already have everything. You are everything. There's many reasons to meditate, and there's many types of meditation. But you want to, as often as possible throughout your day, let go of the obsessive thoughts that just fill your life. Because if you also notice that chatter, a lot of times that is not very loving chatter. It's ruminating on the past. It's trying to figure things out, figure out the future, make plans for the future, wondering if you're going to be okay. And the more that you can drop those thoughts, the better. I could give you a full month of teachings on why meditation, then we can approach it from many ways. But practices that have you get out of that, because every time you pattern interrupt, it gives you the consciousness to choose a new brainwave, a new frequency, a new thought. Right? Every time you go from a space of no mind, no thoughts, it's like you're reborn again. It's like a new day many times throughout the day. And you can let an old thought pattern die, an old version of yourself die in any moment. And so practices that have you get out of the mind and interrupt the rumination or the future projections, the thinking about things. Most of your thinking is futile. Most of your thinking about the past or the future, or about yourself or about people, is a waste of your energy and time, and also creating things you don't want. Most of the time, the only fruitful thing that you actually get is not from your beta brainwave state thinking about things in the day. It's when you sit quietly in meditation and you listen and you slow your brainwaves down to alpha and the theta. That's where the solutions to your problems are, not in your trying to solve it. And what I love about, we just did a little bit of breath, the square breath. Square breath on its own is really a regulating breath, and it balances the right and left hemispheres of the brain, and it brings greater coherence between the brain and the heart and the body. But when we add it in the mantra with the mudra or with the movement, I would imagine that none of you were thinking anything. If you were actually saying Ramadasa in your head and focusing on the breath and on your fingers, that was it. There is no really capacity to have thoughts beyond that. There's a real power in bringing mantra or sound and breath and movement all together. Because when you're doing that, each of those practices have benefits in and of themselves. Each of your fingers connects to meridians. So you're activating all of your meridian energy centers in that particular mudra. There's a lot I could say about each part, but just to give you a little context, the practice of bringing all three together gets you out of your thinking mind and into presence and into focus. And that alone is a powerful practice. And that can look different ways. Like I love kirtan or singing mantras while I'm dancing. There's nothing other than that there. And usually the quality of my thoughts that come after are higher quality thoughts. And I'm not special, so it's going to be true for all of us. I'm not special. We're all built basically the same at the core, at the core, we're all built basically the same. Okay. So throughout this series, I'll be teaching a different meditation each day. And sometimes we'll go a little longer. Sometimes it'll be a mix of what transmission wants to come through versus meditation. It'll always be a mix. And the thing about these practices I'm sharing you is that they're effective in the short amount of time we're doing them, but also if you like it, like the Ramadasa with the mudra and the breath, you could do that. See what happens when you do that for 30 minutes straight. get into a trance, get into theta brainwave state. And then what happens when you let go of that altogether and just sit and listen? Right? So a lot of these practices, whether it's more dance related or mantra or breath, are incredible primers for just sitting and connecting to your higher self. And I'm going to really reinforce that in all of this series around the practice. If you want to live well, one of the most important things to do is to really build that relationship with your higher self, with your guidance, with your, call it your divine counsel, whatever you want to call it. There is a guidance system for you. I'm telling you, that wants us all to win and be so happy and so healthy. And it's only our small self that is getting in the way. And our job is to get the fuck out of the way. To stop interfering with by putting our fears on everything and our worries. So may I leave you with the feeling tone that not only is everything going to be okay, but it already is. That you do have everything. That everything that is needed for your future to be so remarkable, so free, so beautiful, so full of love, so prosperous, exists in you right now. And rather than getting frustrated about, well, why isn't it this yet? Or I don't have this yet, or why isn't this here yet? Just the more you can lay your grievances to rest and really take care of your mind. We take care of our body in the day. You feed yourself well, you make sure you get enough food. Too much focus on the body, not enough focus on the heart and the mind. Take care of your mind in the day. Notice what you're thinking about throughout the day. Notice what you're saying. What do you say to yourself? What do you say about yourself? What do you say when you look in the mirror? I'm going to start with this as the foundation. And I want you to really notice these next couple of days. We'll meet again on Thursday, and it'll be a different topic within this general theme of the art of living well. Where that came from is I asked some different friends what they felt like I really brought to their lives and what they felt that I embodied. And several of them, and basically use very similar words, which is that they felt that I embody living your best life, living well, living great, making everything better. They said that whenever I'm around, everything is better, whether that's what we're eating or whatever. It's just like I find the best of everything. I enjoy life. I make it more beautiful. I make it more abundant. And so I got this feedback from many people. And so I was like, okay, I guess that it's time to start teaching on living well. Because when I look at, there are still things I don't have total success in, that I'm growing in, and I'm working out my own things. But regardless of those things, what I for sure have going on is that my life is awesome, and it always has been. And what's so beautiful is that I used to get caught up in the gap between where I am and where I want to be, and that would cause me suffering, actually. And then I would get all wrapped up in ambition and trying to make things happen out of desire, and masking it in the idea of purpose and all of this, which also caused suffering. And now I'm still, yes, I'm aware that there's things I want to experience that I'll get to experience in this lifetime, but I'm no longer suffering because of that gap. I'm actually enjoying my life here now, fully in it, here now, nothing's missing. Even though I have an awareness of, yes, I want to have that, and that would be great, and that would be cool when I have that. But it's just a different way of holding it. Because also that all that future is lives in me now. And the more I can get that, and the less I feel that I don't have it, because the thing is that when you feel you don't have something, you actually push it away. Because when you're coming from lack energy, I don't have it. It's like if you made it a math equation, not having something, the lack of something is like a negative. So now you're in the negative, you're in the minus energy when you're focused on all the time what you don't have. Versus if you can really bring your gratefulness for what you do have, that's a +1. Now you're in the plus energy, which means the more you focus there, the more abundant, the more you get. For some of you, that might have been helpful, the math equation, but if it wasn't, throw it out. The simple thing is that focus less on what you don't have and focus more on what you do have. And start to see who you already are and what you already have as whole, perfect, and complete. And you'll actually get more. Some people think if they start to do that, they'll be complacent and then you won't. No, because the thing is that the happier and more joyful you are, usually the more you'll be available to create good things in the world, because you'll want to extend that joy and that love and that abundance to the world, because that's how we're designed. But actually, when you're stuck in lack, you become more complacent. Typically, you're trying to fight yourself to do more because you think you need to do more, but that energy isn't very motivating. So then you battle yourself and you don't actually want to do anything. Anyone have an experience like that? You're like, I really gotta do this, I gotta go. But then there's part of it's like, I don't want to fucking do anything. Because your come from is literally like anti-life, anti-inspiration. So anyways, with that, let's just take this last moment, close your eyes again, and bring your intention to mind and to heart for your day. Who will you be today? Intention is not what are you going to do. Intention is more about how are you going to hold yourself? How are you going to be in this day? More of a state of being, a quality. And not only think about it and declare it, but bring it into your embodiment right now. Feel it, be it, sit as it, stand if you want to right now. Say it out loud if you want to. Make your declaration for the type of day you're going to create, regardless of circumstances and situations that arise. You get to say how your day is going to go. How's it going to go? Who are you going to be? So it is. So it is. Bring a little energy into your moment, into your intention. So it is. Yes. All right, my loves. For everyone that's here, can we get like everyone's hands in the circle moment? So it is. Yes. We're gonna call it. If anyone played sports, you do the thing like 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we? No, but we're gonna call it. So what are we gonna call? We're gonna call freedom. You like that? Freedom? All right. 1, 2, 3. Freedom! Yes. So with that, we are officially wrapped. Because it is our first session, I'm going to stay on in case any of you want to say anything. But that is our first session of the Art of Living Well series. And we'll meet again Thursday this week, same time. And again, Tuesday and Thursday next week as well. So comment to all of them if you're able to. I would love to share with you. Again, please be on video if you're going to be here. And thank you for those of you that were fully here with me and on video. It makes it way more fun for me. So thank you. And we build energy together that way, even though in this particular container, it's just me speaking, but I can feel your engagement, your energy. So thank you for blessing me in that way. And I hope that this was a blessing for you. So we're going to officially end this, but if anyone wants to say anything, please just raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Any questions, any celebrations, anything? Oh, I love that you found me through Rachel, Tiffany. You're very welcome. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for trusting and being here and taking this time in your day to share with me. And honestly, your gratitude, your appreciation is so nourishing for me. So thank you for being willing to extend that and to be generous with that. All right, anyone have anything, revelations, reflections, questions before I officially end? Kelly, I miss you, babe. Come here. Hi.
Hi. I just wanted to say hi and thank you. And it was so beautiful to be with you out here by the trees with the sun. Yeah. So I just wanted to share. And I love just shifting the energy so fast with that, movement and breath and everything. So
I'm so glad. Thank you for being here. And I'm really, I know you have such a full life with 4 kids, and I always cherish when you create the time for you. I'm celebrating you every time you do that. And it's good to be with the trees. We're getting a little Canadian energy
yeah,
frequency of the forest.
little
So good
West
for you.
Coast. Thank you. Thank
I
you
love
so
you.
much. Love you.
You're so welcome. Bye, babe.
Bye.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Okay, Nicholas.
Hey,
Hi.
I just wanted to celebrate. I did a ceremony for myself on Friday, and on Saturday, I realized that what my heart wants right now is to be on land with people that I love in Europe. And so it's created this through line of like returning to inspiration as I do my best to still manage and see if any of what I've been holding and like really like kind of fighting for here wants to just easily unfold, and it has started to. So not attaching to any of those outcomes, but just like how powerful it is to actually listen again to what I really want in my heart. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, babe, that's it. That's what we've been talking about. And the thing is, the mind can be so strong that it can be hard to see that you're not listening to your heart. I mean, right? You're trying to discern what's really best for me. And in that discernment, a lot of fears are actually in the way. And so when you can have that revelation where you recognize, oh, now, and you feel it when you're really listening. There's a different quality of truth, right? There's a trust in it because there's a resonance, and you can still talk yourself out of it. But you felt it. It's like, there's a knowing like, that feels like me. That feels like what life really wants for me beyond my fears, my thoughts about things. And for you and for everybody, if you're fighting for something, it's usually an indication that we don't need to fight for anything.
Yeah.
The idea that you have to fight for something is the problem. One
Yep.
of them.
Totally. Yeah, I mean,
If it was really wanted, it would be.
it would happen. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had to restore faith because so much of my life I've lived from my heart, and then hit this point where I was like, but I'm not getting the results that I want. So I had to go through this whole initiation of like why that was, in order to feel like I wasn't like I could trust again.
Yeah. And something for you to consider, and for anyone else that feels like, but I have been listening to my heart and it's not working, and I'm disappointed and I don't have the results I want. You just have to be honest of, was your interpretation of really listening to your higher intelligence, were you really even then? And were you always? And were you at moments? And so you have this idea that you've been, but maybe you weren't. You thought you were, because we can convince ourselves that we're doing something that we're not. We can convince ourselves that we're listening to our heart or to our higher self, and the ego can be very convincing. So be mindful if you lose faith or you're feeling some type of disappointment or based on the past because you thought you were doing it, and just be willing to say, well, maybe I actually wasn't listening to the true voice, because maybe I would have had different results then. Okay, because anytime we feel disappointed or we feel any of that type of energy, you didn't say disappointment, that's a quality that I will feel in moments like that. Maybe for you it's slightly different, but that is the ego. Yeah,
Definitely.
So we get better as we go.
Thank you for this time and another beautiful offering. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, I love you. Have a beautiful day. And let me know if you end up in Europe. You're muted now, but
Oh, I said I'm coming. I'll be there mid-July at the latest.
okay, great. Let's stay in touch about that.
All right.
'Cause I'm
Is this
here.
your London home, by the way?
I'm not going to be in my permanent home until the end of September, so I'm in more temporary London, but I am in London. This is a London home.
Hey, London home. Beautiful. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'll probably see you there. Ciao for now.
Okay, sounds good. Bye, hun.
Love you. Bye.
Okay, Kat, you'll be our last one. Hi, babe. And then we'll wrap up. Hi. You're muted. Can you unmute or do I need to? There you go.
Hello. I'm so
Hi.
hello. I saw this yesterday and I was like, what? Oh my gosh, okay. But I'm so glad you brought up like earlier, like a lot of the spiritual and religious pieces. Because coming from a background where both my parents were Jewish, my dad was Jewish, my mom was Roman Catholic, and then born again Christian was how I was raised. There was a very poignant moment in my life where I was like, nope, because of the dogma, because of bullying, and because of experiences in my life, I was like, well, I don't want any of this. And a lot of my journey has been coming back to spirit and coming back to trusting myself and trusting my heart and trusting spirit. And, really in the last this year has been this pull from my heart and the returning to the ability to like trust it and to follow it and to surrender into it, which and then of course like my brain is going crazy. And so a lot of what you said today and a lot of the practices were really supportive to this like resurgence of deep trust that I've been like wanting to experience and then also experiencing. And so like the loop of being like, oh, we can actually trust this, like we're in a place to trust this. So it feels really powerful and also really scary. But like
It's beautiful.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And the thing is that to match that commitment that you're in, be in the cultivation practice, because the thing is that our connection is always there, but we've put so much in the way of it that we have to reestablish our relationship to the connection. That nothing we've ever done ever severed it, but it's just about reestablishing that connection. That takes cultivation, it takes practice, and to find the frequency of trust. It is a frequency of just in through your meditation, your breath work, and your prayers, to be in the like, oh yes, it's an oh yeah, I feel that, yes, everything is here, that and that revelation and the wisdom and the guidance and all that. It does take, you have to meditate, you have to really be with it, you have to be studying divine spiritual wisdom that guides you back to the truth, because you'll be able to establish the relationship more effectively the more wisdom that you have about what it really means and the thing is, there's been a blueprint. There is a blueprint to how we thrive. Like I was saying at the beginning, you can find it in many religions and in many traditions, and it's spoken about in different ways, and it looks a little different in different countries and different places, but there is a blueprint for our thriving and for our winning and for our success. And the more that your mind understands that, it will also get behind the living and the feeling of it. And so in this, I really encourage you to really be in devotion to this as a way of life and a priority for you, not just as a nice thought, not as a nice idea, let me follow my heart, but as like, no, this is what I'm about.
Yeah, and the expression of it and just like leaning into it. That's the practice. So that's why I'm here. And feels good.
I'm glad you're here. It's really nice. It's really nice to have you here. I was delighted when I saw your message. So I will see you Thursday.
I won't be there Thursday, but for the rest of them I will be.
Okay, great. Okay, then see you next week. And have an amazing week.
I will. You too.
Bye, babe. Bye, everybody. See you on Thursday.